Jersey market. So right now, as we know, we just went adult use on April 21st of this year, day after 420, which just kind of still boggles my mind, but we can dive into that in a little bit. But the ATCs, so the alternative treatment centers, when people are looking to get into New Jersey or previously under the medical model, I kind of compare New Jersey medical to Florida medical because they have to be vertically integrated. And essentially, you get an ATC license, which means you get the full supply chain and have to develop all of your products. In comparison, the adult use now, you are awarded one specific license type, whether retail, manufacturing, transport, or cultivation. What do you see in the market in the different types of products that are offered? Like, what do you think those changes are going to be from really changing those different types of models, and how is that going to impact the operators?
Yeah, well, so I mean, this is kind of the funny thing about just going back, just a couple of years ago, right? I mean, when you look at a lot of these governors, especially in the tri-state area, with the exception of Governor Murphy in New Jersey, the original model for all these medical regimes was the most tightly controlled and restricted medical program in the nation. That's what they were all bragging about, right? And vertical
Yeah.
integration in that regard was really kind of like their hedge to say, well, it's going to be limited. It's only going to be these folks, and we're going to keep our watchful eye on them, right? And a couple of things that came out of that was one, yeah, I mean, you can control the supply chain a little bit more from a regulatory perspective. But also, I mean, to operate a vertical, you're going to need to start with $15 million or more in capital, right? Which is
Mhm.
unachievable, even for many successful entrepreneurs, right? So one of the big things when New Jersey amended its medical law in 2019 was they said, well, let's chop that up a little bit, right? And let's allow these individual license classes. So, look, I mean, I think only time will tell. I mean, the operators we have right now who are doing a great job, the 12, they're still verticals. Coming out of that 2019 round, there's 4 more verticals, but then there's 10 standalone cultivation licenses and 30 standalone dispensary licenses, and they're just kind of going through the permitting process right now, the background diligence and the like. But yeah, no, look, it's the hope of the regulator here in New Jersey that with more competition will be competition for consumers, right? And trying to offer
Mhm.
different products to get people to their stores, get people to their brands. But again, I think the hardest thing for the New Jersey market has been that delay caused by litigation from the last application round because look, the 12 ATCs valiantly kind of carried a marketplace as it jumped from like 10,000 patients all the way up to 130,000 patients, right? So that's on its own, it could be a strain on the marketplace, and we haven't heard of that strain. But new product varieties will be coming, right? I mean, we've in just the last couple of years, obviously the manufactured market has kind of picked up speed. Don't have true edibles yet, but we have more on the lozenging side. Concentrates literally just got approved in the medical marketplace through a regulatory waiver, and I think, I think even just that fact is one of the strengths of the New Jersey marketplace, right? Because my favorite rule that the regulator in the New Jersey marketplace has is called the waiver rule, which says, hey, our 100 plus pages of regulations, we can waive any one of those rules if we think it's in the marketplace to do so. And they've done that on several different occasions. So, kind of kudos to the regulator of having, 100 plus pages of regulations, but nevertheless saying, hey, by the way, if you make a good argument, we'll waive them.
Can they do that for edibles? Because I was shocked to find adult use, like you can't have edibles in New Jersey right
It's
now.
it, and I tell you what, even from a lawyer's perspective, it's so tough because you read that rule, right, and it talks about ingestible products, and you're like, what's an edible if not an ingestible product? But
Right.
what the CRC has consistently said is it requires additional regulation, right? They want the
Got
Department of
it.
Health separately to put like their food commercial food kitchen regulations on top of it, which again, for those that practice in multiple different states, it's kind of, it drives you crazy a little bit. I mean, there are other states that just get around that by putting on the label, this was not produced in a commercial food kitchen, right? Like, it's no, I would agree with you, and if I'm a betting man, I would say we probably see that change over the next year, and I think we see, I think what we're going to see in this market, especially for the next year and a half, is um, products like new product varieties will first be available in the medical marketplace, almost as a testing ground, the proving ground, but also to say that the patients deserve the first crack at these great new products. And
Yeah.
I think that's what we'll see over the next couple of months. And one thing we heard from the regulator when they testified in front of the New Jersey Senate last week was, they're going to finalize their adult use regulations, which they're required to do by the end of the summer. Then they're going to turn back to the medical.